There's nothing like the smell of fresh seafood. And this is nothing like fresh seafood. It's a Swedish delicacy called surströmming. It's made from fermented herring, and it reeks of rotten fish.
Ah, it smells good.
Which is yet to catch on with the rest of the world.
Would you like to smell it?
It's worse than sewage.
Yeah.
I would rather eat sewage than that.
So when it comes to making one of the smelliest foods on Earth, how do they do it? The Baltic coast of northern Sweden. A picturesque fishing village with a whiff in the air, because it's the centre of the Swedish surströmming industry. The process of turning fresh fish into something that smells rotten starts here. At the height of the season, in May and June, the Red Wolf Fish Factory receives up to 60 tonnes of herring a week, fresh from the Baltic Sea. The factory's first challenge is to remove the head and gut. To do this by hand would take days. So they use a fish processing machine that decapitates and disembowels at a terrifying rate. Fish are scooped up by a belt-driven vertical lift. They're then filtered into a centrifugal spinner, which catapults each herring head first. After a quick spray with clean water, they're ready for the chop. The machine can decapitate 400 fish a minute, while simultaneously squeezing out their unwanted innards. Headless and gutted, the herring are ready to rot. But even lovers of fermented fish turn their noses up at that. Because although surströmming smells rotten, the first thing they need to do is stop it decomposing too fast. So a strong salt solution helps kill any unwanted bacteria. Having filled 300-litre vats with the salt solution, or brine as it's known, they add the herring and stir. After 2 days in the brine, they need to stop the preservation process, otherwise the fish won't ferment at all. And it's the fermentation that gives surströmming its pong and pungent taste, so beloved by the Swedes. First, they add some of the bloody brine from the first soaking to put back the essential enzymes that have leached out of the fish. All together now. It's ready to start fermenting. Sealed inside these barrels, the enzymes will get to work, breaking down and softening the flesh. The bulging barrels of blood, brine and fish are kept in an airtight store at between 12 and 15 degrees Celsius, where they'll ripen and ferment for up to 8 weeks. The job of judging when they're ready falls to Andre Haglund, the fish whisperer.
I'm listening for bubbles inside the barrel. If the bubbles go like and are small, that means it's not ready to be canned. If the bubbles are bigger and sound like blah, 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 then we know for sure that this can be used today. And this one sounds ready.
The only way to be truly sure is the unenviable taste test. If you're squeamish, look away now.
The brine has gone from a bloody, extremely salty liquid and turned into more fermented taste. The texture is not that hard anymore, it's become more soft. And the saltiness has turned into fermented herring. It tastes ready for canning.
The factory pack each can by hand, helping to satisfy Sweden's appetite for 800,000 cans of surströmming a year. A salty brine solution is poured in and the cans are sealed. They're then hosed down to prevent any fishy odours from discouraging customers. But they're still not ready to eat. Inside the tins, a special salt-loving bacteria will get to work, fermenting the fish, producing pungent-smelling gases. After a month, the cans are bulging. In fact, so much pressure builds up inside that many airlines ban them because of the risk of a very smelly explosion. And even on the ground, opening these high-pressure stink bombs isn't for the faint-hearted. If you can't stand the stench, get out of the kitchen. Even the Swedes know that, and open the cans outside. Better to be safe than smelly.
Tank open.
Britain's Science Museum has over 220,000 objects in its collection, and over 90% of them are kept in storage, many in these giant hangars on an old World War II airfield. But these damp sheds could quickly turn treasure to trash. The solution? Build a building within a building to stop the rot. And amazingly, they're making it out of cannabis plants. So, how do they do it? From aircraft to classic cars and even penny farthings, the storage facility houses over 16,000 amazing artefacts. But the Science Museum's Matt Moore has a problem.
The environment inside these hangars is quite cold and can be a bit damp, and it's not ideal for some of our more sensitive items such as the carriages.
What they need is the ultimate humidity controller, and as any scientist will tell you, nature usually has the answer. These fields are full of industrial hemp, a variety of the cannabis plant. But this legal crop has almost no drug content. It's being harvested for its versatility as a building material. And it's this hardy plant that will make up most of the museum's new building. Over 20,000 hectares of hemp are grown in Europe every year, and a single hectare can produce up to 12 tons of the crop. Once harvested, the dry hemp straw comes here, Hemp Technology's state-of-the-art hemp processing facility in the east of England. In case you're wondering, they're experts in hemp. The crop is made up of two main parts, the fibre and the woody core called shiv, used for building. To extract the shiv, they have to break the hemp down, as plant manager Steve Holton explains.
This factory is all about separating the two components of hemp, the fibre from the woody component in the centre of it.
This £5 million machine separates the hemp into its constituent parts. First, it passes along a conveyor where bales are sliced using a giant guillotine. Then the hemp enters the hammer mill to be smashed to pieces.
This is the hammer mill, which is the heart of the process. There's a 3.5-ton rotor and there are 350 hammers inside. It smashes it into the fibre and into the woody core.
The mill can separate up to 100 tons in a single day. A grid allows the smaller shiv to fall through, while the fibre is sucked up by a giant vacuum. The shiv is compressed and sorted into piles, which are then automatically bagged and sealed. And there's no wastage. Up to 25,000 products can be made from hemp. The dust is compressed to make logs for fuel. The fibres will be used to make textiles and paper. Bagged and sealed, the shiv is stacked by an auto palletizer. This robot costs £250,000. It can stack up to 200 bags an hour. The pallets are now ready to be loaded by forklift onto trucks. Next stop, Lime Technology's factory, just outside Didcot in the south of England. Here, the shiv is turned into the hempcrete panels needed for construction. First, they empty 420 kilos of shiv into a telehandler, which then transfers it into this giant mixer. On its own, the dried hemp won't hold together, so to bond it, they use 825 kilos of a material that was common on ancient Roman building sites, lime. Lime has the added benefit that it makes the panels resistant to mould. The final ingredient is good old-fashioned water, and lots of it. 800 litres of the stuff. Powered by a 140 horsepower tractor engine, the mixer churns the hemp, lime and water together to create a sticky mulch called hempcrete that will harden and form a solid wall. The mix is poured into pre-made wooden panels. Then a team of workers compress the hemp and smooth it down.
Insulation's all about trapping air, but we don't want any big voids in there. It's a little bit like making flapjacks, I guess.
But these flapjacks are extremely wet. To harden them, they need to be dried, as Piers Ashley Carter explains.
Behind me here is a large agricultural fan, and that drives air at ambient temperature through this spaghetti of pipes that we see along here, and that air drives the water out of it, and within about 18 hours it completely dries the panels to less than 10% moisture content.
Once dry, a protective membrane is laid across the panels. This will allow moisture to pass through, maintaining a constant humidity level inside the finished building. The panels are then loaded onto a truck to be taken to the museum's construction site. Each panel can weigh up to 400 kilograms, so on site a forklift is used to carefully position each one. The precision panels have been designed to fit together like a giant jigsaw puzzle. As the forklift lowers them into place, a laser is used to align each one perfectly. Then they're tacked into place before being secured to the building's metal framework. The hemp will act like a natural air conditioner, keeping the environment cool. And despite being a strain of the cannabis plant, you can't smoke this. Hempcrete is fireproof. 16 weeks and 150 hemp panels later, the Science Museum's new storage facility is complete. The shelves will soon be stocked with some of the most important scientific relics of our time, including fragile notebooks belonging to Albert Einstein. Completing the project, pipes draw in cool night air to maintain a constant temperature. The museum's Matt Moore is delighted with the result.
All the tests and all the indications are really positive. They show that it's going to stabilise the temperature to the right levels for us to manage our collections properly.
Safe from condensation and humidity, preserved for future generations to enjoy, and all thanks to a humble weed.